Okay, another video, this time on simplifying surds. So when you're trying to simplify surds, the idea really is to look for square numbers, in my opinion. You're going to look for factors, which are square numbers, because you know the square root of a square number is the number itself. So for example, root 90 here, the first square number I can see is root 9, and therefore that would be times root 10. And root 9 is 3, so you have 3 root 10. So look for square numbers is a good tip. Okay, and yes, obviously, if you didn't spot the square number, you could write this as it's even, just pick the smallest number you can think of. So root 2, root 45, right? So root 2, 45 isn't even. So again, what's the smallest odd number I can think of there? Well, I suppose root 3 and root 15, but you know, root 2, root 3, what's root 15? Well, that's the same as root 3 times root 5. But then you start to get in a real mess. So root 3 times root 3 is 3, and then you've got your root 5. Root 2 and root 5, they don't simplify, so there's your 3 root 10. Okay, so it's much a longer version of what you could do if you just look for square numbers. So when you've got the case of fractions, the first thing you want to do when you're doing a surd over a surd is just to see whether the denominator is the same as a factor of the numerator. So root 6 you know is the same as root 3 times root 2. So actually those root 3's just cancel immediately. So you're just left with root 2. This time, again, root 32, is the denominator a factor of the numerator? Yes, because this is root 2 times root 16. And your root 2's then cancel, and root 16 is 4. If you couldn't spot that though, what you could do is what's called rationalizing the denominator. So obviously what we've just done is much quicker, but rationalizing the denominator, to make an irrational number rational, you just need to times it by itself in general. So root 3 is irrational, so can you see if you times the bottom by itself, but if you do that to the bottom, you need to do it to the top as well. And your root 3 times root 3 just becomes 3. Root 6 times root 3 is root 18. And as we said in the previous example, look for square numbers as factors. So root 18 has root 9 as a factor and root 2. Root 9 is 3. And therefore your 3's cancel and you're left with the same answer, root 2. But you'll see it's much longer if you don't look for common factors in the denominator first. End of the video.